Oh my god, the host just triple sat me.
You see who's food running tonight?
56 was just sitting there making out the entire time I was trying to take
Why do we have
order.
so many servers on the floor? Did you hear about 73?
This is a work of fiction. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely coincidental.
I have no idea whose turn it was. I'm just waiting for you to take initiative.
Oh, all right. So it's your idea. Welcome back to Rolling Silverware, everybody. I'm Bunny.
I'm Kat.
And this is our post-shift shit talk.
Yeah, so a little bit of pre-shift. How's tonight for you?
Tonight was really good. I was not the closer, so that's always nice. I had a bout of vertigo, so that wasn't so good.
Yeah.
But I made good money. My tables were great. Nobody seemed to know that there was anything off about me. Like, I know that vertigo doesn't, like, show on your face or anything, but, like, you caught it. You tracked it immediately. As soon as you saw me sitting down, you're like, what's going on? What's happening?
Well, yeah, because I know you, and I know you very well. You sitting down in the back eating bread is like, okay, something's wrong.
Right.
Like, either you're super hungry, you're about to pass out, like
something has happened.
Yeah, something's not correct.
She needs to be fed. So yeah, other than that, I did have a good night. I made good money tonight. I made good money last night. Last night was you were there as well. They made like drastic cuts very early in the night.
Yeah, I was home by like 8:30.
Yeah. I mean, it was I was going to say that we closed at 9, but we didn't.
No, we closed at 10,
It was Friday yesterday. So, yeah, for at least 2.5 hours, there was nobody else but me. And it was me and one other server and then the lounge that was still on. And that was it. That's all there was. At one point, I had my party of 12 last night, and I also had 6 other tables. So I was rocking a 7-table section for a bit. But I had help from both the supervisor and the manager, the general manager.
Yeah, not bad.
They were running around. They were helping out. And then our newest manager, he was being a kitchen manager last night. And he's like, so I just want to talk to you about, this was at the very end of the night. I was standing outside. He's like, I just want to talk to you about the way that cuts went down. Like, we're trying to save on labor. Like, how did you feel about that? I go, honestly, I felt fine. Like, did I need a little bit of extra help in that, like, probably half an hour period, like right when everybody's leaving, like every single other server is leaving, and there was a lot of you guys because it was a Friday, and so I did have the help that I think I needed to make that seamless. Like none of my tables missed anything.
Nice.
The kitchen was on it all night.
I was gonna say I don't feel like I've had any kitchen mishaps for a while.
Yeah. So he's like, do you think that was like a better way to go about everything? And I was like, yeah, I think that was totally fine. Like. And he's like, okay, because we're just trying to like make it worth your while still to be the closer. Okay. And I'm like, well, this will help. Yeah, if you guys, I'd much rather them have more people on with me when I start. Like how we had, 4 people at 4 o'clock today? Yeah. Give me more of those shifts and then fucking cut everybody at 7. Everybody. Yeah. I don't care. That's fine. They're still going to be in the building if I need to like holler at somebody, you know? But yeah, give me that. But then also have those managers ready and available on the floor. Yeah. And that's when he's like, well, if we didn't have to have our EKM on the line last night, then we would have even had one more manager on the floor for you. And I'm like, well, that would have made a difference also. Yeah. How was tonight for you though?
Oh, it was a vibe. Oh my God. I was so on tonight. I don't think I made less than 25% on 98% of my checks. Yep, only one table I had tonight left me like 15%, and I didn't give them bad service, but I think just the demographic that they were, like, they gave 15%. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Right. That's what they give to servers type
That's
deal.
What they were going to give no matter if they had the best service or the worst service.
Exactly. And there was a little bit of a language barrier. There was only one person on the table that I was speaking with the whole time, and they were ordering like family style, right? Like a bunch of food for everybody to share. And then she wasn't the one that paid, the one that I was like talking to, but it wasn't one of those where like I was joking around and I was doing this and I was doing that, you know what I mean? Because there was just like that one person. But I gave them, great service. I did everything for them. I was, on top of their refills and, pre-busing and getting them anything they need, whatever. But that was the only table that gave me less than 25% tonight. Like every single table. Yeah, I think
across the board I was 25 all night. Like I made out really well for, again, not feeling very great. But then it came back around and I ended up feeling just fine. But yeah, I mean, you helped me. Lounge 2 helped me out a lot as well. Yeah. So it was nice. And then I did inform the manager. I was like, to the server manager, I was like, hey, just so you know,
Yeah.
in case something were to happen, I need somebody to be aware that I am very dizzy and I'm doing my best to keep it together. And she's like, okay, just let me know, if you need anything, or, we can always have Lounge 2 step in. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, we're kind of working through it. But
Yeah.
all my tables were in a great mood and happy to be there.
Oh my God, my first table sat down. I was clocked in. I walked up to the host stand and I'm like checking my station, and the GM is there in a panic because she always is. Yeah, and there's two people, like two parties of two waiting, and she was just like, oh my God, let's get these people sat. Cat's on, let's get her sat. And she looks at me, she was like, you want to seat your first table? And I was just like, yeah, okay, relax. Like,
please take a breath.
Yeah, I was like, it's fine. It's two parties of two. Like, it's not the end of the fucking world.
We will make this work.
And so I go to sit them down, and I'm like, I am, in fact, going to be your server tonight. I'll be taking care of you. I'll give you a couple minutes with our cocktail list. And he goes, oh, man, you just clocked in, too. You just came on. And I was like, I did. Yeah, you're my first table. So
that's how this works.
I was like, you set the tone for the night, so make it good. And the guy was like, heck yeah. And he, fist bumped me. And I was like, all right. And he's just this, old man with his younger wife. And I was just like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
But they were such a vibe. They were so nice. They were cute. I loved them. I loved talking to them. Good. And then every table after that really was just a vibe. It was so much fun. I had such a good time at work tonight.
Excellent.
And then
they keep putting us on opposite ends of the restaurant, though. And I'm like, can she just work a little closer to me? Like, just a little bit closer?
They do it on purpose.
They do.
But I do love how the host manager today, when he was looking at cuts, he came up to me and he's like, so do you want to be first cut? Do you not, do you want to stay? And I was like, well, is Bunny cut? And he was like, no. And I was like, then I don't want to be cut.
Then I don't want to be cut.
He looked me straight in the face and was like, I see how it works now. And I was like, yeah. Cut us together.
Get with the program. We're obviously hanging out after this. So
yeah. He was
make this as streamlined as possible.
It was good. But something that happened earlier this week, and I teased you with this a little bit.
She loves
doing
that.
Well, I said it was it was a huge deal on that shift. I'm really surprised if you haven't heard about it.
I have not heard a thing.
So I'm standing at the host stand, and this guy walks in. He walks right past the host and gets halfway to the bar and starts yelling at the bartender. Hey, I need a shot. I need a shot. The bartender's like, okay.
Of what?
Yeah, she's like, whatever. So he ends up getting a shot of JMO, right? And then he's like, give me a beer too, strongest beer you got. She goes, okay, whatever.
Cool.
Gets him, the high ABV beer that we have on tap, and, sets it in front of him. And then security comes in.
Oh my God.
The mall, it's not a mall, but the security people that are in the area, they come in and they go, do you know who's driving that truck right there? And the host, I didn't see it, but she did. I remember her making a reaction okay, when that truck pulled in, but I didn't hear anything off the wall or whatever. Sure. But she said that they went over the curb, right?
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that. But they were like, yeah, it's that guy sitting at the bar. I look over, this guy's standing up, he's sitting down, he's standing up, he's sitting down. He walks over to the other, the cove, and starts standing in the booth to look out the windows that are at the ceiling.
What? Those
of the cove.
Yeah, the really high up, almost bathroom-esque windows that we have up there.
So he's going back and forth, and I'm just like, whoa, is that guy tweaking? What is security doing?
Sounds like it.
So they say he hit the bank that's next to your building. And I looked at him, I was like, the bank? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like he hit it he robbed it, or he hit the building with his car?
Like he ran into it.
He ran into the building.
I love that. So great.
And then just fucked off. And so security's talking to him, and he's like, yeah, well, my brakes are wonky. I didn't leave the scene of a crime. I'm still in the parking lot. And they're like, no, you left the scene of a crime.
Now you're in a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's not where you were when you hit something.
Yeah. And they're like, no, you left. And he's like, well, my brakes just don't work. And
then you shouldn't be driving your car.
And then immediately to go into a restaurant and take shots and a beer. I'm like, so you just want a DUI?
Yeah, do you... All right.
If the cops get here in any...
He's preemptively trying to build his backstory, which is now that he's drunk.
I guess.
That seemed better than whatever was happening.
Yeah, so he hit the entire fucking building. And then I look over at his car, and the back of it, the back bumper is what's fucked, right?
It's all fucked up. Oh, you have a picture.
Of course I have a picture.
Oh, fantastic.
So when I didn't have any tables at this point, I look at the host, I'm like, I'm going to go look at the bank. And they were like, are you for real? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm for real. So I fuck off. I walk across like that main little intersection to go look at the bank because I was like, no, I need to know what this looks like.
Oh my God.
That's the outside ATM.
Yeah.
So the way he was parked, so the way the building is
parked over here?
Yeah. The way the building is
oh, well,
it has
the parking's
a row
over
of parking.
Here. Yeah.
It has a row of parking.
And then nothing up front.
And then, the bank there's no parking directly in front of the bank. It's just on the opposite side of that, like, drivable area. Or street or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, my God, he took a chunk out of the wall.
He must have been going 40
coming
out of that fucking parking spot. Like, he had to have been. There's no way that he was going any less. He had to have been on the gas pedal minimum. There was no way that he was just idly coming out of that fucking parking spot to do that amount of damage. Like, it was, I took a picture of it, obviously, and then I walked back to the building and I looked at the host and I was like, oh my God, look what he did. And she's like, oh shit. And I'm showing all the servers.
Yeah, this is now the only thing I'm talking about.
I'm showing the manager. I'm like, yo, come here, look what he did to the bank. The manager's like, when did you get that? I was like, don't worry about it. Just look what he did.
I conveniently was ready to have a photo already ready to go to show you guys.
I took it from the window in the cove.
I never left. I did it from our patio. I never left the property. Shut up.
But yeah, that was talk of the town, that guy. And then he ended up
So he was looking through the window to see what he had done to the bank.
I'm assuming, yeah. Security, like, did fuck all, essentially.
They can't really do anything other than, like, call the cops. So
Right. And so they talked to him for a minute, and then I guess they called the cops. But the cops didn't show up until, like, an hour and a half later after that guy left. Like, we eventually told them, like, hey, we can't serve you any more alcohol. Like, I don't know what's going on, but we can't serve you anymore.
I need you to pay for what you've had, and I'm not serving you anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And then the police station called our restaurant and was like, can I speak to the bartender? And at that point, the bartender had already left.
Oh, okay.
And so they were like, well, no, that bartender's not here anymore. Like, we have a different bartender on, whatever. And then 20 minutes after that, somebody walked in, and the host manager was like, okay, well, I got to go print all this stuff out and, da-da-da. And I was like, that's not our business. He didn't hit our building.
Right.
Like, he came in here, sure, but we just...
There's no reason not to give them whatever information they need.
I don't cooperate with police.
I guess not.
I want to say there was one time.
I'm very anti-authority, but also, like...
No, one time I was working where we are now, and I guess a guest had gotten in trouble with security. I don't know, something happened, but the cops came in or we had called the cops on them. I'm not 100% sure, but the cops came in and started asking me questions, and I just stared at him. And then he was just like, are you going to answer my questions? And I was like, am I under arrest? And he's like, well, no. And I'm like, then no.
Then no.
And the manager
I don't have any information. They're like,
it was the old server
fucking
manager.
Cat. Why are you like this?
It was the old server manager, that piece of shit woman that we had. And she's just sitting there like, she's just 24, you know what I mean? Just very young, and just looking at me like, or like, what's happening? And I was like, no, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't have anything to tell you.
This building pays me minimum wage.
Right. At best.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, my guests pay me more than minimum wage, but my managers and this corporation pay me minimum wage. No, I'm not talking to the fucking cops for you. Get out. Like,
I ain't no snitch. I know how this goes.
It wasn't I don't even know what it was. It's just an interaction that happened with me. So the cops was like, hey, so about that guy. And I just stared at him. Like, no,
are you going to answer my questions? Probably not. That's fantastic. No, that's crazy. I've heard nothing of that. Nobody has told me
it was
anything
huge
of that
day. Because, I mean, all of us are just standing around. Like, I remember at one point the hammer was standing at a terminal putting in orders. And I'm sitting next to the terminal, like, pointing at her terminal, but looking directly at whatever's happening in the bar with this guy. Like, pretending like I'm talking to her about something. Like, so I had a question about, and I'm, like, opening my server book, but I'm looking in. Like, I was so interested. I was like, what's going to happen?
So, speaking of people who shouldn't be in the restaurant,
Ooh.
The other day, you worked the morning and then bounced out. It was Monday.
I was going to say, it was probably the day that guy hit the fucking building.
Well, it was Monday. You worked the morning, and then you were gone probably an hour and a half before I got there, or at least an hour before I got there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I come on to close the restaurant, and I am immediately spoken to by the host. And so he's telling me that this lady at 81 she's still here. I guess she had eaten with her daughter, And so he's like, oh yeah, so this lady at 81, she's just gonna hang out there. And I'm thinking like, do I need to give her anything? Like, was
this my table?
Yeah,
like,
was this somebody else's table earlier and now she wants more food? Like, what's going on? And he's like, no. She ate with her daughter, and then her daughter got up and walked past me at the host stand and told me, I'll be back for her after my shift.
A whole shift? What do you mean shift?
What do you mean shift? Where the fuck are you going? This isn't
what are you talking
this
about?
isn't a daycare for young or the old. What is happening? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And he goes, yeah, she's studying for her driver's test. I go, who is? And he's like, the lady at 81. She's studying for her driver's test, but she's just going to hang out here. And I'm like, what? Her daughter was here? Yeah, they had a whole meal. They like literally came in at like 11 o'clock or 11:30. Had a whole meal,
ate, drank, everything, paid out,
and then she and walking out, she makes a comment to adorable host that we are so into. Like, vibes are all there. He's great, right?
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, and she just said,
okay, I mean this in the absolute nicest way possible. He's like, Willard? Is it Willard?
Yeah.
But like Willard, but like make it fashion.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
Gay fashion Willard.
He really, like, I'm sorry. And if you don't know Willard, it's the movie where the guy talks to rats.
Yeah, the guy with all the rats.
He parts his hair down the middle.
Right.
And he's got like longish hair and he like slicks it down. So he's got those like curtains.
It's not quite as long. It's not quite as long. There.
But he has the prominent nose.
And he wears a lot of dark clothing.
He has the middle part. And the first time I ever saw him, he was wearing like a sweater vest. And I was like, bruh, what? And then the minute he opened his mouth, I was like, yes.
Yeah,
like, I'm in love with you.
We're best
like,
friends now.
I love him so much. He
walked past me yesterday and he goes, you're giving boss lady vibes. And I was like, hell yeah, I am. Because naturally, right? But so he's like, yeah, this is what she told me when she leaves. And I was like, what did she mean a shift? Like, she has to go to work 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours? How long is a shift?
What is a shift? It depends where you work.
And then immediately another server walks up to me and they're like, yeah, that lady at 81 was just talking to me like nonstop, telling me about her driver's test and all these things, how she took a practice test and like she was so angry because like this and this and that, whatever, right? And I'm like, what is going on? And they're like, yeah, and her daughter was in scrubs and was leaving. And I go,
shift?
That's what I said. I go, okay, hold on. Is she going to be here for 12 hours? Like, what is happening? I was so at a loss. And then apparently she spoke to the host, the lady at 81, the mom spoke to the host manager. So now he walks past me and I go, how did that go? And he's like, well, she's just telling me all about, oh my God, is it okay that I'm still sitting here? I'm just studying for my driver's test. And I'm sorry that I keep repeating this, but this is how many times she has said this to people.
Right.
So I clocked this immediately as I'm not even going to walk past that table because now she's grabbing everybody that walks past. And so he's like, yeah, do you need anything? What else can we get for you? Of course you're fine to stay here. Don't worry about it. And I go, yeah, but do you know how long she plans on staying here?
Yeah, it can't be the whole night shift.
Because her daughter said, I'll be back for dessert. Dessert when? What? So anyways, a couple hours go by. She is still tucked in that booth. Luckily, we don't need it. We weren't that busy. It's a Monday night. You know, we're not super busy. But then all of a sudden she's gone. And so I asked the host, I go, did you see her leave? And he's like, no, I didn't see her leave, but I'm guessing she went off. And I was like, I would. Like, if I didn't have a car and somebody was like, hey, I'll be back in a couple hours from wherever I'm at. I don't know why I'm not at home or at somebody's house, right, but wherever I'm at, guess who's shopping Old Navy? Guess who's shopping Kohl's? Guess who's going to walk into every single other store
that's around that area
than to stay where I just had lunch and now I'm going to stay for an additional 5 hours? Like, what?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So then an hour or two passes by. And I'm at the bar top and I'm getting drinks. Mm-hmm. And I turn to see our host sitting, that lady from 81 at 31 now in the lounge. And also her daughter.
Oh.
And so I'm locked eyes with the host and I'm like, this is her. It's her. And he's like, it's her. And then I turn to Gorgeous, right? Mm-hmm. And I look at her and I go, guess who's back? And then she's just like deadpan. She's like, do you want it? Do you want that table? Don't you want it? You want that table, right? And I'm all, I sure as shit don't. I have other things to do. And I walk
because who knows how long they're going to be there now the second time.
And me and host link arms and we walk up to the front. And I'm just like, oh my God. And he's like, I'm dead. I can't. I don't even understand. She came back for dessert. They came back and had a bread pudding.
Wild.
And then finally went home. But they stayed at that table for a hot minute. So yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Wild.
She just said, you know what, Ma, you're going to stay here today. What? Do you not trust your mom at home or wherever you are going? I don't know. The whole thing was crazy. And the lady's still going off about her fucking driving test. And I'm like, ma'am, you've had hours to study. If you don't know this shit by now, you're not going to know it.
No.
Like, the laws haven't changed since the last time you had a driver's. And then the discussion was, do we think she's ever had one? Is this her first time getting a driver's license at, I don't know, 68, 70? Or did she lose her license? You know, because now we're all speculating, right? And
yeah, of course.
That's the topic of conversation for the night. And I'm telling the kitchen manager, so I'm talking to him, and I'm like, you don't understand. She was here already. Like, because he didn't know that there was somebody that had been here already.
Yeah, he didn't know the lore.
Right. And so I was like, no. Listen to me. You got to understand this. And on that same day, maybe it wasn't it doesn't matter what day it was. Anyways, on that same day is when I had these people come in to the lounge, and they're like, yo, can we take this table? And they're pointing to 31 earlier in the day. And I forgot to tell you about this, but I go, yeah, go ahead. Like, we're not that busy. Go ahead and take a seat. Normally, it's not self-seating. I just like to let people know that.
Yeah,
and
same.
I'm like, but how many do you got? I'll grab you some menus. And he goes, well, we have like 30. And I go, ha. How many do you have? Because it's him and his wife and his daughter. And his daughter's like a teenager, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, I'll grab you 3 menus. He's like, well, no, there's like 8 of us. I said, I'm sorry? And he's like, no, there's 9. There's 9 of us. He's like, but it's mostly kids. And I look at this.
You're still not going to fit in that
this
booth.
full-grown man, and I'm looking at him and at the booth, and him and at the booth, and I go, sir, you're not going to fit there. And he goes, well, we're just coming in to get drinks, maybe an appetizer or 2. And I go,
that's still not going to fit there.
That's what I said. I was like, my concern isn't how much food you're going to be eating. My concern is that you won't all fit inside this booth. This booth's at 6 people max, and if that's 6 full-grown adults, that's a tight squeeze.
Yeah.
So I don't care how many kids you have. If you have 9 people. So I offer them in the 50s, right? I'm like, let me push these 2 tables together. You can have the booth and also, this little table. Set that up. Come to find out, they're actually a party of 11.
Jesus. How many of them were kids?
4.
Okay.
So, no, 5. Because it was 6 adults and 5 kids.
Okay.
But still, you're not going to...
They never would have fit in that booth.
The same size booth is now where you're sitting as a part of your table, and you're all not fucking fitting into that.
Yeah.
So it was just a weird day, and we're all like, is it a full moon? Like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
But I ended up putting them over there and just pulling more tables over for them. But it wasn't a full moon. The full moon's not for another week and a half. I also took a picture of something tonight that I wanted to share with you.
Was it tonight?
Yeah, this was tonight.
You mentioned you had a picture of something. That's why.
The regular ladies come in probably every Friday or Saturday, right? You definitely know them. You have served them before. They just get the edamame, and then they share like a sushi roll. So anyways, they always bring their own bottle of wine. At least one bottle of white wine is brought by one of them.
Okay.
And so I walk up, I get waters, and then I go, we need some glasses, because I already know that they're going to have a bottle of white wine. And they're like, yeah, you know us so well, haha. And I'm like, you're here every week. Like, yes, obviously. So then I come back, I drop the glasses, and then I get a little busy. So I don't come back for their order, but usually they sit there and have at least a glass or 2 before they order anything anyways. Yeah. And then I come back, and this is what I see at the table.
Buttercream Chardonnay?
Sure, but what do you notice about this photo?
Well, it's not an ice bucket.
It's not. It's a discard bowl, but that's not the point. What do you notice about it? Anything stand out to you as not?
Just the fact that it was a discard bowl. That's not our ice.
That's not our ice! That's exactly it.
That's not our ice.
That's not our ice. She brought her own ice in a bag to keep her wine cool in this little wine cooling bag. But in my head, I'm like, that's insulated. Like, that bag that you're holding right there is insulated for wine.
How long was it in your car that you needed
I have no idea.
Also put ice
but
in
also,
it?
Those are full-blown fucking cubes. Like, those aren't melted at all. That's ice from somebody's fridge.
Yeah, so
And I clocked it immediately. And I was like, did you bring your own ice? And she's like, oh, well, I keep it in with the little wine bag to keep it extra cold and this and that. And I was like, yeah. And then the other lady goes, wow, you really noticed that. I went, well, that's not our ice. That's not the ice that we have here at this restaurant.
I was trying to think of what our ice looked like, and I was like, it's not rounded on the edges.
That's
that's fridge ice.
Yeah, that's fridge ice, like from somebody who has one of the where you can like push on the door
on
and
the
it
outside
drops.
Of
yeah,
it,
and it drops ice down into your cup. That's what she brought and put it in our discard bowl with her little wine. Fine, you're saving me from getting a bucket. I wasn't going to get one anyways because they never asked for one. So I already wasn't going to get... They never asked for one, ever. So, but then she's like, well, I just had the ice, so I figured I'd do this. And she's like, I'm sorry, is that a problem? And I was like, no. I was like, you can do whatever you want.
No,
I
it's just
don't care.
weird.
It's just, and then I took out my phone. I go, but I'm going to take a picture of this so I can talk about it later. And then I took a picture. And she goes, oh my God, don't go show everybody. I was like, I'm going to show everybody right now. I need because immediately I looked down and I was like, that's not our ice. Where the fuck did you get that?
Where'd that come from?
Where did that come from? How did you have...
It's not even like 7-Eleven ice where it has like the hole in the middle
Right,
or like
no.
the round
Also,
ice.
it's not melted at all.
So
Those
she
were
just brought it
full
from home.
cubes. You had just left your house and now you have arrived. Because I'm even looking at their water glasses and I'm like, I didn't give them that much ice. Like, not that much in their water glasses, right? But then it clicked and I was like, that's not ours.
That's crazy.
It's just weird.
It's weird.
That's
It's
just
odd.
a weird thing.
It's an odd
But
thing
also,
to
she
do.
made a nice little ice bucket out of our discard bowl in her own home brought ice.
Yeah.
So fine, I don't care. Again, you guys do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I really don't care.
And our
The less
discard
I have
bowls-
to do for you,
Yeah.
the happier I am.
Yeah.
But-
Our discard bowls do go through the wash. It's not like they never get washed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and it's no worse than somebody throwing a shell or their trash in there. Like, who cares? But it just...
Yeah, they're not putting the wine directly in there to sip from
it's just,
it.
yeah. And even if they did, I still wouldn't care. I'd be like, well, that's weird, but
I
okay.
wouldn't care, but I'm judging way harsher if
Right.
I did that.
But I'm just like, that's... You brought that. And that's good for you, I guess. Like, it was just too funny to me that I had to take a picture so I could tell you about it.
Earlier today, I did have something happen earlier today that kind of blew my mind. So I go to the back. I realize we don't have any glassware in the bev station, and I go to the back to just be like, oh, I'm going to go grab some clean glasses. But there weren't any clean glasses on the little, like, movable shelving rack thing that we have for them.
Yep.
So I was like, God damn it, are they all on the floor? I didn't feel like we were that busy, but I guess it's all on the floor. And then I go to start moving, like marrying the two different glass racks that we have
So you
that
could
I
send
could
one
throw
through?
one through. And I noticed that behind both of the glass racks was full glass racks still on the shelf waiting to go through.
So they just haven't been run yet.
They just haven't been run. So I look at is a brand new dishwasher. I'm talking, he's probably still in training, like
Yeah,
brand
absolutely.
new dishwasher. And I was
Just
like,
started
hey man,
yesterday, yeah.
I was like, hey man, I need those glasses. I need those on the floor. We're out of glasses.
Right.
And he goes, oh, okay. And he grabs them and then starts walking to the bev station.
Oh, no.
And
I
was
don't
like-
need them from here. I need them from the dishwasher.
Right. And I was like, no, I need them run through. Like, I need them clean.
Yeah,
Like,
we don't just store them there. Well, he didn't know that, but yeah.
Common sense would tell you, though,
No,
that,
if
like,
he's never been a dishwasher before.
I mean, maybe, but if they're there to be cleaned, wouldn't, like, in your home, do you just take dirty glasses and put them back on your shelves because you need them? Or do you wash
Yeah,
them
you have to
first
wash
and then
them
put them back?
first.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Your entire job is to wash these.
you're a grown adult, right?
Yeah.
Like, you lived a life at
you
some
should put this together.
like that's what I'm saying. Like common sense should tell you that
What's
like no, you're not
happening?
just gonna take dirty glasses to bring them to the bev station for us to use them. Like people's mouths have been on this.
Yeah, I
like,
can't use this right now.
Yeah, I was flabbergasted to say the least. I was so thrown back by the fact that he did that. I was just like, homie,
Hello?
like no. What I was like, no, I need them.
I actually need
there.
more from you right now. I hate to break it to you.
And he goes, he's okay, and he put him through, and I was like, wild. And I immediately walked outside and started putting that in my notes app. I was like, what is happening?
So earlier, this man walks up to me. I have 4 full tables in my section. 1 has just been cleared off.
Okay.
And it was the very last booth in the bar. And so he walks up to me and he goes, hey, can I just like walk up and sit here? Or do I like to take this table? And I go, oh, okay. I'm in the heat of my vertigo, as on top of that, I'm fairly busy at this moment. And I look at him and I go, oh, they're not self-seating tables. So if you don't mind just speaking to the host, because I don't know what the reservations for tonight look like. Sometimes we have reservations literally for these tables in the bar. And he immediately goes into aggro mode. And he's like,
Ew.
yeah. And he's like, well, it's open right now and I don't want to lose it. So if I walk up to the front, is somebody else going to sit here?
No, they're not self-seating.
And I look at him and I go, no, sir, nobody else should take that table unless they're brought here by a host. And again, I don't know what the reservations are like. I'm back here. Like, I'm not up at the host stand. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
But all I said is, again, sir, I don't know what the reservations look like tonight. Sorry. And so then he huffs and puffs his way up to the front.
Gross.
To which then I immediately get sat a different table. Not
Thank
him.
God.
Yeah, not him. And then he ends up over at like 62 or something. But it just reminds me of, we've talked about it before, like how people don't seem to understand how reservations work or whatever.
Yeah.
And for him to be like, well, I don't want to lose it. And in my head, I'm like, well, it's
not yours.
It's not yours to lose. It's actually just an open table. And if we can give you a different open table, we will. Or I did offer him the high top. I was like, you can sit at this high top 37 if you'd like to right now. And I can go get you some menus. And he's like, well, I want that one. And I go, okay, then you need to speak with the host.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, that's just how this goes. And how it pretty much goes at any restaurant. Like, what do you...
Did you ever see where he did get sat? Like,
yeah,
was it
62.
Okay.
So still a perfectly fine booth and of the same, size.
Yeah, but I was almost wondering
Just not in the bar.
Yeah, so that was the thing for him, is he wanted to be sat in the bar, but it's like, I'm sorry, these are maybe near the bar, but they are considered a part of our restaurant. So if somebody else sits here, it's because they were in line in front of you.
Right.
So you
they
should have
probably
put
had a
your name
reservation
in.
for the bar area. But it was just
even if
like,
they didn't, they were just on the wait, and that was the first table that
right.
opened
This
up
is
for
now
them.
the first available
They were
table.
in line.
It goes to them. But yeah, just for him to be like, well, I don't want to lose it. Is somebody else going to sit here? And I'm looking at him like, sir, the fact that I'm talking to you and telling you these things means I'm going to tell the next person these same fucking things.
Yeah.
Like, believe it or not, it's not that I have an issue with you. I just have an issue with what you're trying to do right now. And I need you not to do it. I can offer you as much help as I can. But again, I'm in the heat of feeling terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm going to stay standing during this conversation, let alone, like, I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't want to lose it. Well, it's going to still be here even tomorrow. So we don't just lose tables off into the void. Like, that's not
how we go out of business.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Again, Yard House gave me no warning.
This is very true. So I just couldn't believe he's just immediately angry. And I'm like, sir, I didn't invite you here. I also didn't promise you anything at all. So please don't speak to me like I am causing you grief or strife over... But can I just take it? No, go the fuck up to the front like you would at any other goddamn restaurant. Do you see a sign anywhere that says, please seat yourself? Do you see that sign anywhere?
Or do we have a whole stand, like a whole countertop of people standing directly in the very front of the restaurant?
With other people seated in the waiting area?
Yeah.
Do you see that? Because that probably means that you can't just fucking sit anywhere. And also, you don't own it. Yeah. Do you have stake in the company? Like, I don't know.
Even if you do, your name's not on the fucking table. Like, it's not your table.
It's not your table to lose. But as the hammer, the closer, I have to check everybody's side work and make sure they're good. But with their, they did drastic cuts yesterday, like I mentioned before.
By 7:30, they cut almost the entire floor.
It was 6:30 when they cut 4 people, and then 7 o'clock they cut the remaining people, save 3 of us, right? Me being one. And Paranorman comes up to me. He's on side work with somebody else, okay?
Yeah.
So he's sharing his side work with somebody else, and he comes up to me and he's like, hey, can you check A? And I go, not right now. And he goes, no, of course, not right now. Like, obviously, I mean, I know you're busy. And I was like, cool, can you go and get this from my table? So I sent him to go and help me out. And then immediately he finds me in the beverage station. Did you have a moment to look at A? To which his partner walks up to him and goes, hey, have you rolled? He goes, well, no, not yet. And I look at him and I go, okay, why don't you complete all of your side work and then come and find me? Why don't you do all of your job and then come and find me to check?
Because he was trying to get you to sign off on A so that he didn't have to do any more, because A includes fried cups.
Right.
It includes things that generally keep coming up over and over again.
Right.
And he didn't want to do any more. So he wanted you to sign him off on A so that he was completely done doing sauces, fry cups, oyster crackers, anything else that could have possibly come back.
Right. But he does this kind of shit all the time. He's always, you've been there when he wants to second guess me about how I've written out the side work. And it's like, hey, buddy, just shut up and do what's written on the board. Like, it's not even me asking you to do this. This is your side work for tonight. Shut up and do it.
Yeah, he did it just the other week, wasn't he? He was like, well, C has the easiest side work.
C's the easiest. Why are there 2 people on that? And it's like, well, in the order in which they normally cut the floor, this is how I need the side work done. I have timed this out to the best of my ability. You just need to do it. So he was explaining to me while I'm getting drinks for my now 3rd new table in no time at all. He's explaining to me what he had done. And that's when I turn around. This is after I had told him to finish all of his side work first. And then I turn around and I go, hey, Paranorman, I need you to get with your partner, and if she says that you're good to go because she's still here and still has a lot of side work to do, then I will go and check and see what you did. Please, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And then I have the supervisor come up to me and he goes, hey, did Paranorman do his side work? And I go, I don't fucking know. I have not had a minute to look. Like, I'm now over it. I have been talked to by Paranorman 3 times, and now I'm being talked to by the supervisor.
Yeah, I'd have been pissed.
And also, I have not given a single signature yet. Nobody has my signature on their checkout yet. So I'm like, what? Why?
He tried to go in and do his checkout without your signature?
No, he said, well, he's just standing around, so I want him doing something. I go, cool, then tell him to do something.
Run food.
I don't have fucking time right now.
table.
I had 7 tables at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Was my party at 12 getting ready to close out? Sure, but I don't know how they're going to split this up. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't have time. Either way, I still had 6 other tables to go and deal with.
Yep.
So I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. And so supervisor was like, okay. So then one of our other servers was like, oh, because then he's coming up to me again and he's like, well, there's no silverware in the back. And I go, none?
Shut up.
There's none? Because now we have enough sorting racks that I don't want to hear it from anybody that you can't sort.
Yep.
So I'm just like, there's none. He's like, well, there wasn't much. I go, cool, just go do what's there. He's like, oh, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what's there. Then why are you speaking to me? I don't know if he pulled this kind of shit with his mom and his chores and he was just like, Mom, look, I made my bed. And she's like, cool, I also told you to pick up your floor. And he's like, well, I'm going to do it. I don't need to know what you have, each individual step you have done. You can see that I am inundated. You can see that I am busy. I'm not giving you the time of day, not because I'm being rude or a bitch, but because I don't have time to give you. Also, when I started with this company, if the hammer was busy, it meant you needed to help the hammer. And then when they had a free breath, they could check your side work. Yeah. If that meant waiting 10 to sometimes 15 minutes, you fucking waited. End of story. Sorry. Yeah. This person is busy and they need to give the okay before you can leave. You're on the clock. You're making money right now. I don't know why you're so frantic to fucking be done. When, in reality, he wasn't done because he hadn't rolled any silverware yet.
Him and his girlfriend tonight, the host manager had said something to them about like, okay, well, you have 45 minutes from the minute that you're cut to get off the clock, right. And like, we're talking to them about it. And then I heard him talking to somebody else and they were like, why are they so on top of us about side work? Like, they think that we want to be here. No, we don't want to be here. Of course, we're trying to get out of here as quickly as possible and blah, 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 blah. And it's like...
No, well, and half the time, you're just trying to get out of doing side work.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he ends up sharing silverware with one of our other servers. Mm-hmm. And so together they roll a box and a half. Great, that's fine. I don't care. Whatever. So then I sign off on him. And then after he leaves, supervisor comes back up to me and goes, did he do his side work? And I go, yeah, from what he told me he did, I counted it like I checked it, like I looked, I didn't
open the fridge and see.
He didn't do any of the sauces. He did do the butter and the sour cream. He did the fry cups, which I watched him do because I told him to go find more. Mm-hmm. He did the crackers and he did the oil and vinegar and he did the chopsticks. So he did everything except for the 4 main sauces, which is fine because it's not like his partner had to do 2 of each. Yeah. She only had to fill up like 2 things. So if anything, she got the easier part of the side work. Mm-hmm. But when I walked past her, I go, hey, he was in a hurry to get out of here. He asked me 100 times, please let me know if, from this list of 7 things, if he in fact did not do any of them.
Right.
Please let me know. Because from my eyesight, it looked like he did. And she's like, oh, I don't think he did half of anything. And I was like, okay, well, let's find out. And so I went with her to check. And sure enough, he did everything he said that he had done.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I did tell him to go get more fry cups because I was bothered that he kept hassling me. And she's like, but I don't think he rolled. I was like, no, he shared a box with somebody else. That's the best we could do. Like, I can't make more silverware happen.
Yeah.
But also, like, no, you do not need to wait 20 minutes after anything for more. I'm never going to make anybody wait for more silverware to be made, to be dirty. But also, like, if it says you need to roll a box, then you should at least be trying. Mm-hmm. I want to see at least half a box. Because, there's something there always. There's always something
there. Yeah, even when I say, like, when I look in the back and I'm like, oh, there's nothing in the back, I will look at the hammer and say, hey, there's maybe half a box back there. I'm going to run it through and I'm going to do that half a box. Like, I'm
and go and do that before you go and find me to be like, hey, I did this. I don't need this broken down for me. I need you to come to me when you are 100% done. That means I've got eyes on a box of silverware that you have rolled or helped roll or however the fuck you figure it out. But I mean, he was repeatedly, hey, did you have a minute? Oh, if you had a second. I don't have a fucking second. Please Stop it.
Yeah.
So then even supervisor comes up to me and he's like, did he do it? And I'm like, to the best of my knowledge, yes, he did. He did what he said he did. And in my opinion, it was a fair split. Like, that's about how much work I would have done if I was first cut.
Yeah.
And he, like I said, he did the butter and sour cream, and those are two of the most annoying things. So, like, those were done and ready, and in the bottom, if anything, he even made extra, because there was 2 of each down there, plus the ones on the line.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, like, do I want to say, no, he didn't do his fucking side work? Sure. But unfortunately, he did.
Yeah, he did his half.
Yeah, he did what he was supposed to do. And
he
then,
was just really annoying about it at the
and
end.
then I talked to his partner at the end, too, and she's like, yeah, it was fine. Like, what I had to do was not picking up his slack. And I went, perfect, great, awesome. Because I never want to leave anybody hanging. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if you have a buddy on your side work, don't come and tell me fucking anything.
Yeah.
Just you two work together, or you let your partner know what you have done, and then I will speak to your partner.
Yes.
Because your partner's usually there later than you if you're the one doing side work first, right?
Yeah.
So then I'll speak to your partner, and I'll be like, do you feel like what was done was fair? And if the answer is yes, then great, you can now leave.
Yeah.
Like, cool. But I can't with how often he's like, hey, and it's like, stop it. You haven't even done half of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you still have a good 20 minutes to 30 minutes of rolling silverware. Just get the fuck out.
But yeah, like I said, when I started with this company, it was very much, if the hammer tells you that they don't have a minute, you're not asking them, hey, can you check my stuff? You're saying, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
What can I do for you so that hopefully in a minute or 5, you will be able to check my stuff? Not just repeatedly standing there being like, hey, oh, are you ready to check? Did you
and
check?
Just standing at a terminal waiting for you to not
Right.
be busy anymore to check your shit.
Just glaring at me. And it's like, well, yeah. So I was just like super annoyed. And then, like I said, to have the supervisor come and ask me as well, what's he doing? I don't know. I don't know what any of your employees are doing. I'm working. And I'm just trying to get my shit done.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't have a moment to even start on side work until well after, all of the people had gone.
Shit. I had an issue tonight, and I want to say this is probably like the first time this has happened, because it doesn't happen often for me anyways in the times that I'm cut and stuff like that. But I went to go find the hammer at the end of my night when I finished everything, and she was on break. And so I was like, I walked out and I was like, hey, I know you're on break. Do you kind of want to tell me to fuck off? And she goes, yeah, don't bother me. And she said it in a joking way.
Of
She
course.
absolutely
She
like,
always
was,
does, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, fucking heard. And I walked away and I just let the manager know. I was like, hey, hammer's on break. This is my box of silverware that I rolled. This is, my partner. Excuse you. You told me to fuck off because I wasn't doing it fast
You were taking
enough.
too long.
But my partner had already told me while I was in the back rolling and she was grabbing her own silverware. She was like, oh my God, you did most of it. Like, once you're finished with your silverware, you just go.
You're good to
And
go.
I was like, cool, thanks. Because I had done like a majority of the fry cups. I did the oyster crackers. I did the 4 main sauces, except the one that we just like didn't even have any in the back. Like, we just don't have any made of the remoulade. So I was like, okay. And I did like all of the ramekins and everything. So she was like, yeah, you did most of it. Like, don't worry about anything that's left. I'll do the rest of it. And I was like, cool. So I'd already gotten my partner's good to go from her side of, sharing that side work. And then I had a box and a half of silverware that was rolled by somebody.
Somebody had rolled it, and I'm claiming it.
And then I had done my 4 tables.
Right.
You know what I mean? I dusted my 4 tables, and I made sure that, the sauces were filled and the peppers had, pepper and stuff in them. So when I walked up to the manager, I was like, I don't have a signature. This is, I think, the first time since I started working here 3 years ago that I didn't have a hammer signature on my thing. And it was just because she's on break. Like, I'm not going to bother her while she's on break.
Yeah, I'm not going to pull you from your break to say, hey, come check my stuff.
Yeah,
I'll tell you to your face what I did. And if you want to believe me or not believe me, that's on your own, whatever.
But either way.
But they and I know that they're cracking down on us about getting off the clock faster. I get that. Okay. So like tonight I was cut at 8. I was done at 8:47. I did have one table, so I went 2 minutes over the 45 minute, right? Which isn't a big deal. That was also walking around time and finding the manager time, you know. But I go into the office and I sit down, I hand him my little cut slip and I go, yeah, I went 2 minutes over. And he goes, well, you're close enough. I'm not going to talk to you. We are talking to other people about, how long they're lingering on the clock or this or that. And I go, yeah, absolutely. Especially because we're so worried about labor right now. So it's like, fine, I get it. And he's like, yeah, well, they are cracking down on the hammers. And I looked at him and I go, well, as a hammer, I'm here until the end of the fucking night anyway. So what do you mean you're cracking down? He goes, no, I'm sorry. I phrased that wrong. People are calling out the hammers. And I go, on what? And so he tells me, now I overheard this conversation earlier.
Stop.
He tells me that people are saying that the hammers aren't writing the side work early enough for them to know what their side work is. So then they have to hunt down the hammer to have them fill out the side work so that way they know what they're assigned to.
But they're not supposed to be doing side work until they're cut anyways.
Right.
So
and also,
it always gets done before cuts happen.
Also, it takes 35 to 40 seconds to write out the side work. Don't come at me and be like, I'm not. Also, I fill out the side work before anybody else even comes on shift.
You practically sign it before you clock in.
Yeah,
like
I have filled this out. It's one of the first things I do when I'm the hammer is I hit the host stand and I figure out who's doing what. I keep it on my person so that way people can't start their side work early. Mm-hmm. Other than which the managers made a good point. They're like, they can roll. Anybody can roll. If you're not sure what your side work is, why don't you go sort some silverware then? Because you know without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to have to roll something.
Yes.
Every single side work is supposed to roll. So whether you end up having to roll 2, 2.5, or even just the 1, you still have to get started on that. So, but he was like, oh yeah, they're calling out the hammers for not having the side work written. And I go, that takes like 5 fucking seconds. And also, you don't need to clock into your shift and walk up and be like, oh, okay, I'm on B tonight. That does you no good. That means nothing to you in that moment.
No, it doesn't.
And sometimes it changes.
Yes.
That's the other thing. Sometimes
We've
it
talked
changes
about this before.
Because they cut somebody that I thought was going to be here all night long.
Who's on Bev station.
Right. And now all of a sudden they're cut at fucking 6 o'clock. Well, guess what? You can't break down my beverage station right now.
Yeah.
But you can do
3 hours.
You can do A. Mm-hmm. So don't so I was just like, whatever. But I overheard the managers talking about this before I went in to do my checkout. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh yeah, like if the side work's not written this or that, then they should just roll. They should just get on the rolls. And I whip around because I'm listening to everything all the time.
Of course.
And I'm like, yeah. And also, like, it takes seconds to write out the side work. Or even better yet, there's been times where people have asked me, hey, what side work am I on? And I just go, are you cut right now? And they're like, yeah. And I go, cool, A. And then I'll go and write it for everyone else, you know? But it just means you go do A. Yeah, you can't tell me that the hammer's taking up too much of your 45 minutes by writing out the side work.
Also, the only way that could be an issue is if we had rolling side work, which we don't. That's not a thing. Running side work. Which is not a thing. Whatever. It's not, but running side work isn't a thing in our restaurant. So it's not like if you're on B, the entire night you need to be making sure that the marking trays are filled with, their silverware and stuff like that. And then at the end, you just kind of like top of what you've been doing the entire day, which I do think is something that should be implemented. I think that running side work would probably
it would help out a lot.
The amount of times that you or I have gone into the Bev station and there's no ice or there's no glasses or you know what I mean? There's empty glass racks and things.
Well, and that's just it. That shouldn't fall on whoever's on C for the day. That needs to fall on everybody.
No, it does need to fall on everybody.
And I think everybody should know that because that is a part of our training too. Is like if you see that something's missing or low, then you should be replacing it.
Of course.
But the amount of people who don't bring any more glass racks. And also the amount of people that leave empty ones.
Yeah. That happened to me tonight. I went to pull out a Bev rack and it was completely empty. And I looked at Giggles and I was like, why do they do this?
Yeah.
And he was like, people are lazy. And I was like, but why?
So many times I've told people like, I'm going to throw this across the room.
Yeah.
Or I'll look at somebody and go, did you do this?
Did you do this? Anybody in the
Is this you?
Like, is this you?
Did you do this? And they're like, yeah, I was just going to take it out. I go, well, you didn't. You didn't take it out.
Oh, I never. Oh. Nobody admits it to me.
Speaking of annoying things that other people do. So last night we had new manager on the line, right? Mm-hmm. He was expoing. He was doing a great job.
I overheard a part of this during fucking pre-shift.
So
I was busy. I got double sat right at pre-shift, but I heard you saying something about it. Tell me the story.
Okay, so during pre-shift today, I'll tell it how it happened today. So during pre-shift today, the host manager's pouring out the cocktail that we're sampling, right? The new bartender special. I love it. It's great. And he's making a whole ass mess. And he's like, normally I'm better at this. Bunny can attest to that. And I said, yeah, but you're failing right now. So jokingly, right?
Right.
So which kitchen manager goes, hey, don't yell at him. I know you yell at me, but don't yell at him. And then the hammer tonight chimes in and goes, oh, well, she yelled at the expo last night. And I was like, all right, okay, hold on. I'm not out here yelling at everybody all the time. And I went, yeah, but for good reason. So then everybody's like, what happened? Why did you yell at him? Because he's innocent as all hell, and we all really do enjoy him.
Nice.
He's so nice. He's so sweet. He's so, like, he cares.
Yeah.
I do genuinely enjoy him. He like I said, leaps and bounds. I think I mentioned this in the last 2 weeks. Like, he's come leaps and bounds, in my opinion, since he started, or since he was helping us out.
Yeah, when he was helping us out, he was
terrible.
Worthless. But yeah,
but no, he's so much better. He's learned a lot. Okay, so it's the end of my night. I'm the closer. I'm breaking down the line. And I go to take out the butter and sour cream. The butter and sour cream had just been set into the old butter and sour creams.
Ew, gross.
So he pulled from the fridge, took off the plastic wrap, and just set this brand new thing of sour cream into another 6-pan of sour cream.
Ew. So there's just sour cream all over the outside.
Also, these things are suction cupped together. So I'm trying to pull this shit apart, and I'm looking at the hammer that tonight, she was my lounge last night, right? After you left, right? I'm looking at her, and I go, who the fuck would do this? Who would do this? And so he rounds the corner, and she goes, maybe it was him. And I go, did you do this? And he's like, do what? And I pull it up, and I show him, did you put the new ones in the old ones? And he goes, yeah, I was really busy on the line, and I just grabbed him and threw him in there. And I go, great, then you can wipe it the fuck off, too. And I walked away. And she laughed. It's like she was laughing so hard. And he goes, I will absolutely do that for you. And so I tell this to everybody today. And I'm like, yeah, well, I told him, then you can fucking do it. Don't you? No, I'm sorry. My job is to make sure that this restaurant is clean and done at the end of the night. My job is not to clean up some fuck up that somebody else did.
Yeah.
Like, that is not, like, if somebody's, yes, we all work together, whatever. But this was just sheer lazy. Like, you couldn't pull the 6-pan out and drop it in your bus tubs that are here for you.
Right underneath the line.
And
that we're not even allowed to use.
Right. Servers aren't allowed to use them. They are for the expo only.
Yes.
You put it the fuck, come on.
It's not that hard to take it out.
So yeah, I pulled both of them out. One completely smeared in butter, the other completely smeared in sour cream. And I went, dope, you can fucking do this. And everybody today was laughing. And they were like, oh my God, Bunny, you didn't say that. And I was like, I absolutely did. And then guess what? He did clean them off.
As he should.
As he should. I didn't fucking make this mess. If you're going to be lazy, then you pick up your lazy.
Yes.
You know? Like, I would never make somebody else clean my room, you know? Like, yeah. I made that room. Like, I did that. I'm not going to be like, yeah, well, you put it away. No. I'll put those clothes away.
And my husband doesn't even put my clothes away.
Right.
Like, he'll do the laundry just because he has very, like, specific clothes sometimes that can't go in dryers and this and whatever. He's very, like, very special clothing, you know.
Look with your special clothes.
And my brand.
I
love that.
I'm obsessed that that's come back as a TikTok trend right now. Oh my God, every single time. And I loved that commercial when it was a commercial.
When it was a commercial, I was obsessed with it then.
Yeah.
And nowadays.
And now it's coming back and I love it. Like all the mixes of it.
Oh, we have your type.
Yeah.
You can't have my brand. I have specialized. Look with your specialized.
Look with your specialized.
My brand. But yeah, he has like specialty clothing sometimes.
Right.
That, you know, whatever he washes. So he'll just do all the laundry.
And then pick and choose his stuff and put it away. Like,
yeah, and then he puts his away, and then he puts mine in a separate, like, clean hamper that I then will go through and put away myself. But even, like, dirty clothes sometimes that end up on the floor, just a long shift, long night, whatever. I just throw it on the floor. I don't expect him to pick it up or put it in the wash to be washed. None of that. No, if it's not in the washer or the laundry hamper, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you don't have to go out of your way to pick it up.
No, not at all.
I don't make a mess for somebody else to clean up ever, you know, especially not at work.
Yeah.
But it was the look on his face was very much like he got caught. And he was like, yeah, it was really busy. And I go, you did such a good job. Clean it. Because, like I said, they're smeared all the way down. Like, I can't put these back in the fridge.
No,
and then he says, he goes, okay, I'll clean it. And he goes, well, you could just get a new one. And I go, or you could. And I walk away. Like, no, I'm not getting it. No. You have admitted to your crime. Now fucking clean it up. Like,
do the time, bitch.
Or you could. What do you mean you could get it? Oh, so now I have to get a new container, swap everything over because you dirtied this one, and then get a new label and print that shit out too?
Yeah, no.
Fuck off. You're adding so much to my time. But yeah, they were just like, oh, Bunny, you said that? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that.
With my whole chest.
Absolutely. Get out of here. But
That's
he is
hilarious.
great, and I do really like him. And he did do a fantastic job explaining. Like, there was not a single miss last night.
I was gonna say, I feel like the kitchen. Oh my god, though today I was in the bev station and I look over at the kitchen and it's all black, and like both of the screens were black. I don't know what happened, if the system had like shut down or something.
They
went
had
off.
to shut it down because the kitchen was getting drink orders.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know what was happening, right?
Yeah.
All I knew is that I look over and I see it like black and restarting, and then I see the kitchen manager or the assistant kitchen manager like yelling stuff out, and I was like, is this going to be a problem?
Is this our night?
And it wasn't. It wasn't a problem at all. Like, I
No.
feel like we haven't had any like major kitchen mishaps in a long time.
Our kitchen has been on fire
It's been
lately. Like,
so
it's been
good.
so smooth. I haven't had an issue at all.
Yeah, with as busy as it was today too. When I first walked in, there was a ton of people in the restaurant. So at 4:00, I didn't really expect that many people. But the fact that we, we're slightly busy. We've had big parties. Like, it's summertime. We're starting to
everything's
pop off.
come out great.
And I feel like the kitchen's just been doing such a good job recently of like making sure that if I'm putting that, side of ranch on something, it's coming out, or if I'm modifying something a certain way, it's coming out the way that I want it to. Like, I've been really, really happy with the way that the kitchen's been run the last, I want to say, like, month or two. I feel like we haven't had too many like major things.
Not really at all, no. All right. Well, from weird to wild, are you ready to check out?
Absolutely. Let's get out of here.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Rolling Silverware podcast. If you are enjoying the post-shift shit talk, please feel free to rate it. Tune back in next week for our shift shenanigans.